WESS, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania.
Hi, I'm John Hendricks. From 1972 to 1974, I hosted a radio program called the John Hendricks Radio Flea Market of the Air on WESS Radio in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. Our massive 10-watt signal at the time reached out to such faraway places as Stroudsburg and the Delaware Water Gap. We were on 88.7 FM and probably best remembered locally for interfering with the audio of TV Channel 6. Today you can pretty much find any TV show on YouTube that was recorded in the 1970s, so I thought why not share the old flea market tapes too. This was classic amateur college radio of the era, shows written, produced, and voiced by one person, which would be me, live in a small studio in the basement of Shawnee Hall dorm, staring ahead to the egg carton-lined covered walls of the WESS newsroom. Because of copyright rules, I have not included the offbeat music we played on the show, but I have included my theme song, which was Where Did Robinson Crusoe Go with Friday on Saturday Night, recorded by the Kazoo Band and all Kazoo Orchestra, purchased for $1 out of a dollar bin of a record shop in 1972. And I doubt they'll be worrying about copyright infringement. So here we go again, back to the early 1970s and some highlights from the John Hendricks Radio Flea Market of the Air on WESS Radio. Enjoy.
This is public radio station WESS in East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania.
And now, in spite of popular demand, WESS presents the show voted most popular by the residents of the Punkerville Home for the Deaf, the John Hendricks Radio Flea Market of the Air.
I thought I'd better take on a moment here to recommend to those of you who suffer from nervous breakdowns, heart failure, and go easily into shock, you should not, I repeat, should not stay tuned for the next hour. I understand that the Big X has gathered 35 of your favorite commercials together this hour, so if you're not ready for anything unusual, you can go. However, the rest of you, well, gang, hang in here and stay tuned for The Truth. And good evening and hi. This is the new John Hendricks Radio Flea Market of the Air. What's new about it tonight is that it's only on for an hour. And I knew that would get you. At 11 p.m. tonight, this same air personality will begin a new program. We'll have more on that later. Let's destroy this show first.
And now, once again, for sports fans everywhere who will listen to any sport on the radio just because it's there, we present the National Horseshoe Pitching Finals from Boise, Idaho. Killer Clem Woodsby stands by the pit. So far, he leads in this tournament. He throws. Oh, beautiful, it's a ringer! Let's see if Gary Jones can top that one. This is his throw. Oh, it's no good. As the fan crowds the pits, we conclude our broadcast. And now, life on campus, the continuing story of life on the campus of ESSC. It's a Tuesday morning about lunchtime, and we find Fred is still asleep as George enters the room. Hey, Fred, wake up. Hi, George, you're back. How was your weekend? Not too bad. I decided to stay home an extra day. What did you do up here? Well, not much. Friday I went to the movie, then came back and went to bed. Saturday I got up at noon and walked into the Big Inn. Saturday night I went to the dance. Did you dance with anyone? I'm not sure. I danced with this one girl, but I don't think she noticed I was there. And she left halfway through the song anyway. What did you do all weekend? Well, I took off my snow tires, watched a game on TV, you know. Yeah, I think I should have gone home. How come you're in bed? Don't you have a 9 o'clock class? Yeah, but it's not important. Hey, Fred! Where were you today? We had a big test. Oh, yeah, I forgot. George, did you just get back from the weekend? There's special meetings all day tomorrow. You won't have any classes. Oh, well, see you guys later. No classes. I'm glad I didn't unpack. See you, Fred. Yeah, see you next Tuesday, George. And so we leave our typical Eastburg students on their typical day of a typical week. Be sure to tune in next time when Fred and George decide to stay up on the weekends and go home during the week, part of our continuing series of Life on Campus. This is John Hendricks. Once every 3 seconds or so, someone runs up to me on the street and asks, just how do I get into broadcasting, and where are the opportunities? And I always answer him by saying, how did you know who I was? And I wish your memory span was longer. Then I tell him the answer again. It is easy to get into radio, and hundreds of jobs are open today. Here are just a few. A station in Flat Willow, Montana, is currently looking for a good foreign correspondent. A station in Deep Lake, Florida, is currently looking for a girl to work part-time reporting local ski conditions. And a station in Duckwater, Nevada, needs a professional, experienced sportscaster to cover the professional sports teams in that area. You may ask, how do I get trained for such a highly rewarding position? Well, one way is through massive training at the John Hendricks Famous School of Unknown Broadcasters, the only school to use the unique correspondence system through telegrams to ensure complete training in only a few short hours. Why not call today for all the gruesome details? And now, Tell the World, our award-winning feature. We have as a special guest tonight who has stopped by to tell the world about his unusual occupation. Your name, sir? Call me Harry. I'd rather not give my full name as it could get me in a lot of trouble. Okay, sir, fine. Tell us, what do you do for a living? Well, I serve a useful part in the world of sports. I write the scripts for roller derby players. Well, this is very interesting. The roller derby teams always led us to believe that their actions were all unrehearsed. Well, that's the image we've created. Actually, all our players must go through a rugged theatrical training before they can join the roller games. It's a little-known fact, John, that one of our best players appeared in a Shakespeare summer festival for 7 summers, Macbeth. So it's all a big put-on. Just how much do you have to write? Everything, John, everything. Actually, we break down into fields of specialization. There are gimmick writers, fight writers, and actual speaking parts. What are the gimmick writers for? Well, they make up the nicknames like Billy the Bomb Brewster or Kathy Killer Cruisin'. Then there was Peter Pick Poston. His gimmick was he always chews on a toothpick. Then the players from the other teams come around and try to pull it out of his mouth. That sounds exciting. The crowds love it. One night, Robbie Rout of the Bruisers pulled it out so hard that all Pete's dentures came out. It was quite a night. Well, what is your job, Harry? Well, I write the scripts for the track announcer. This is very important. If he stops yelling for even a minute, chances are you'll lose the whole audience. So we have to write a continuous script. I have to have a complete running vocabulary of adjectives. This is very interesting, and I'm sure our audience will be listening to the next Tucson Trojans game for your commentary, Mr. Harper. Oh, no, I told you not to use my name. Now I'll lose my position. This is terrible. I'm sorry, Harry. Well, sorry isn't enough. I challenge you to a match race next Tuesday night. Whoever loses must leave town. I'm afraid that's all the time we have today for Tell the World. Our guest was Harry of the Roller Derby.
Hi, friends. This is Brother John coming unto you once again by means of radio to repeat the most fantastic offer ever made. Now, friend, are you troubled? Do problems take your precious sleeping time away from you? The cares of the world keep you awake at night? Well, here's news of relief for you. Tonight, I, Brother John, once again offer unto you a fantastic record collection featuring 50 of the world's most boring sermons. That's 50 of the world's most boring sermons. Your sleep is guaranteed in this amazing offer. These sermons have brought relief to many sufferers of the Saturday night, Sunday morning depression. Now you can have them in your own home for this amazingly low price. Act now. Send $15.95 in check or money order to 50 Sermons, care of Brother John Enterprises, Gospel Grove, Nebraska. That's 50 of the world's most boring sermons to 50 Sermons, care of Brother John Enterprises, Gospel Grove, Nebraska. And Brother John thanks you.
It's time now for our special feature, Express the Expression, where we take a popular American expression and explain the story behind it. We all know the old saying of, as the crow flies, used in saying, how far is it to Philadelphia? And then someone would say, oh, it's about 80 miles as the crow flies, meaning that it's that far if you could follow a straight path to it, as the crow would fly. Well, our vast John Hendricks research team, after months of extensive study, have traced the expression to a Mr. Jed Acuff of Horse Cave, Kentucky. I suppose the expression came about one day when someone asked you how far it was to Horse Cave from Bear Wallow, and you then probably said, oh, it's about 5 miles as the crow flies, making up the expression right on the spot. No, that's not exactly right, John. To tell the truth, the original expression wasn't even as the crow flies. See, I used to run a small takeout restaurant in Horse Cave, Kentucky, and the specialty of the house was fried crow. So somebody would call up and say, how far is it from Goodnight to Horse Cave? I'd like to order some fried crow and I'll come pick it up. Then I'd say, oh, it's about 7 miles as the crow fries. So actually the expression is just a mispronunciation? Yeah, that's right. Actually, we also began another expression here too. What's that? Eat crow. Well, sir, thanks for coming here today. You've been a big help in helping us express the expression. This is John Hendricks. It used to be that, in order to be successful in the field of politics and diplomatic affairs, you had to be an elected politician with years of experience, not to mention knowledge of the insides of politics like graft, bribe-taking, and writing loopholes, but no more. Now, you can train in your spare time to become a successful American diplomat. The opportunity is yours now if you enroll tonight in the new Henry Kissinger School of Diplomacy. Yes, while still working at your present job today, you can train for this rewarding career. Think of the benefits. World travel with unlimited budget, no elections to run for. All you have to do is get appointed. The Henry Kissinger School of Diplomacy will help you to meet many of the leading politicians of today, some of whom may run for president in 1976 and need a Kissinger of their own. If you think your future is in non-elected politics, call or write to the Henry Kissinger School of Diplomacy tonight. As many of my fellow seniors here on ESSC realize, there's been a serious lack of communications between the voices of authority and students concerning graduation expenses. All I know is that it costs a lot. We've tried to come up with the final decisions on where and when graduation ceremonies would take place, so our vast John Hendricks research team was out on the scene, and here goes. The graduation exercises will begin at 5 a.m. on May 25th and will be held on the quad at sunrise. Seating will be limited since there are only 6 benches on the quad, and one of them is broken. Therefore, graduates will be limited to only 3 spectators per each 100 students. The windows in all dorms facing the quad will be blocked off. However, each student will be given 1 ticket entitling a visitor to sit in the TV room in the Union and listen to the ceremonies over WESS. All graduates will be expected to wear gowns, although the dates for purchasing the gowns will not be announced until the deadline passes. Also, a $5 fee is due for the diploma, which will be handed directly to the dean of your school as he hands you your diploma. So that's all we could find out about graduation for 1974 for now. So let's continue with the show. It's time once again for our public service feature program, Tell the World, where concerned citizens come and tell our listeners things they don't especially want to know. Every spring and winter, East Stroudsburg, as with most colleges, conducts registration. Since registration time is here, we've invited Dr. Joseph Roster of the Registrar's Office to be our guest. Thank you, John. As you know, many students panic when registration time comes because they simply don't understand how it works. Suddenly, there they are on registration day, with a blank card in hand and a blank look on their face. Yeah, I noticed that you brought along some papers. Yes, John, these are registration schedules and cards. Every student gets one of these computerized cards and schedules. The first thing one does is select courses from the schedule. It is always best to stay in your field. So, if you're an elementary ed student, it's only a waste of credit to take care and treatment of the sweatsuit, a jock course. You should always pick courses which interest you. Let's see. This sounds good. You write all this on your card. ELED 473927. Teaching English to migrant farmers in Peru. Monday, Tuesday, Friday, 4 to 7:20 p.m. See, you should always pick times to fit your social calendar. Let's see, John. You write these down while I read them. Fundamentals of stock car racing for the advanced beginner. How come you stop writing them down? Because there's a big hole here in the card. Well, that's a computer punch hole. Why don't we go to the next step? Okay, now we take the card down to the registrar's office. We get in line here to turn in the card. Is this the line? It's backed up all the way to Normal Street. This may take a while, so we'll be back.
This is Robert Young speaking to parents, grandparents, aunts, and uncles. Are you making a list of the different toys that you want to give? Now, how much thought have you given to the safety of the toy? Be honest. Did that ever enter your mind? The National Safety Council cautions that it's important to give a toy to fit the age of the child. To be ridiculous, you certainly wouldn't give a dartboard set to a 2-year-old. There are other things that you should consider. Did you know sound can hurt if it's too loud, that is? So perhaps that gun that shoots caps isn't such a good idea. When choosing toys for small children, be wary of toys that are small enough to be swallowed, that have detachable parts that can lodge in the throat, ears, or nose, that will break easily into small pieces, leaving jagged edges, toys that have moving parts that could pinch, that are put together with straight pins, sharp wires, and nails, or toys that have long cords or thin plastic bags. If selected for a child under 2 years of age, remember, if a child looks up to you, it's up to you to look out for him.
Thank you, Doctor. We continue with our Tell the World special with Dr. Roster of the Registrar's Office. Well, we finally made it up to the desk. Now what? Well, we hand the card to this girl here. May I see your student ID card? I don't think I have one. Nobody gets to register without an ID. Please, we've been in line for 5 hours. Have a heart. Here, check my card. Oh, all right. Oh, these are all courses are all filled up. Sorry. No, they can't be. They can't be. They just can't be gone. The doctor is ripping up registration cards. Now he knocked over a whole box of registration cards. I think we better close our discussion on how to register without hassle here at ESSC. Tell the World is a public service feature. How could even Basket Weaving 3 be closed? No, no. And I see that Arm & Hammer has stopped by. You're complaining a lot in the past about your wife's cooking. Is it really as bad as you say? Well, John, she used to make me instant oatmeal every morning, but she doesn't do it anymore. Why not? Well, she lost the recipe. And last night, John, I came home and she was very upset. She said, "The dog ate the meatloaf I made for you." What did you say? Well, I told her to stop crying. Stop crying? I'll buy you another dog. And now, once again, it's time for another friendly visit to the kitchens of Grandma Rolaids, the founder, producer, and head chef of the Grandma Rolaids Canned Leftovers Company. I notice you're wearing a baseball cap, Grandma. Does this have something to do with a new product? Oh, yes. I've noticed that many people who attend professional baseball games always buy a lot of hot dogs, sometimes during the game. Now, one company on the market today advertises they sell ballpark franks, but our research team has found out and proven that these hot dogs sold in the store have never even been near a baseball game. So we decided that most people like not just a hot dog, but the whole atmosphere of the park. So what have you done to get this problem out of the way? Well, instead of making fake ballpark franks, we go to the stadiums and buy up the leftover hot dogs. Then we put them in our special food locker room. Then comes the most important part. We then put the hot dogs inside the rolls, wrap them in wax paper, and then we line up all our employees and pass the hot dogs along the line so they'll look and feel like the ones at the park. But if it's already in the roll, how do you cook them? Well, they're already heated like the ones in the park. Here, try one. Okay. This tastes like paper in there. Oh, that's just a bit of confetti. I think this will conclude our visit to the kitchens of Grandma Rolaids. Buy Grandma Rolaids Canned Leftovers, available wherever they are sold. And this public service announcement from WESS, the National Safety Council, reminds you that spring is the season when the quad becomes a living quagmire. Don't take a chance on being a victim of the quad god. Stay on the sidewalks and avoid the quad. And now, life on campus, the continuing story of life on the campus of ESSC. It's a Tuesday evening shortly after dinner as we find Fred and George, two residents of Mincy Men's dorm, discussing topics of interest. Well, what are we going to do tonight, George? I'm not sure. I might do the wash. Haven't done it since we got back from vacation. Well, do we have any soap? Soap? What for? Hey, guys, what's for dinner? Veal. Lamb. No, George, it was veal. Well, Rumi, I'm sorry to disagree, but that was lamb. No, George, that wasn't lamb gravy. No, but it was beef gravy. But the meat was lamb. Hey, guys, do you know what time it is then? 6:30. No, actually, it's 6:31. I've got a digital clock. Shows the numbers right on it here. Well, I guess I missed dinner anyway, so thanks, guys. Was there any mail today, George? Yeah, I got a letter about housing. What did it say? Says yesterday was the last day for getting a room for next semester. Did you turn our forms in? What forms, Fred? Why our housing forms? No, why? Well, that means we don't get a room next year. We'll be left out on the quad. Well, I'm not going to worry about it. I'll go do the wash. Don't forget the soap. What soap? And so another exciting evening rolls on for two ESSC students. Tune in next time when Fred and George streak through the men's dressing room at Kaler Fieldhouse as part of the continuing episode of Life on Campus. This is John Hendricks. Every day, hundreds of people ask me, how does one go about getting into the big field of broadcasting? Well, one individual I heard of was once on a safari in Africa. There she learned of a small village nearby which had only one radio station, and its studios were located in the branches of the top of a tall tree, which could be reached only by climbing a long rope to the top. Since she was an excellent gymnast, she climbed the rope to the top with no problem and was immediately promised a big radio career, which she would still hold today had they not found out she had been deaf since birth. And you, too, may also find it as difficult to enter broadcasting by training through the John Hendricks famous School of Unknown Broadcasters. So call today for all the unusual details. Is there anyone here in our vast audience with a complaint about some aspect of life at ESSC?
Yeah, I have one.
Oh, come right up here, sir. What is your complaint?
Well, I wanted to complain about the dull life here on the campus, on weekends especially. Why, you can't even get people to go to the Friday movies anymore. Like last Friday, I walked into the auditorium and asked the man there, "What time does the movie start?" And he said, "What time would you like it to start?"
It's time once again for our public service feature, Ask Dr. Thornbottom, where the good doctor provides answers to your most pressing problems. And what have you got for us this time, Doc?
Well, we have a Mrs. Emily Wasgood of Yakima, Washington, who has a problem with her husband.
My husband here has become a terrible problem. He spends all his spare time studying Don Rickles.
Oh, shut up! Why don't you leave here and go to the zoo? You'd be less conspicuous there.
Yes, I see he is sort of insulting.
Listen, Doc, you make me wish I had a lower IQ so I could enjoy your company. I'm really pleased to see your back, especially after seeing your face.
Listen, you, shut up. I'm here to help you.
Look, Dr. Jekyll, you're getting under my hide.
Look, I'm not going to enter into a battle of wits with you. I hate to attack someone who's unarmed.
I'm not going to stand here in front of all these people and be insulted.
Look, I'd like to help you out. Which way did you come in?
Shut up, you big dummy. I'm leaving.
Good. On your way out, could I drop you off somewhere? Like a nearby bridge? And so ends another friendly visit with our man with the answers on Ask Dr. Thornbottom, a public service feature.
This is Gordon G. Goodvoice. Tonight's program was pre-recorded before a live audience consisting of 4 calling girls, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and David Cassidy out on a limb. Tonight's unrehearsed interview with a typical Maxwell housewife was preempted. The part of the accordion was played by Rich Little. David Fry played the kazoo. And that's going to do it for John Hendricks Radio Flea Market of the Air for another week. We'll be back again next Tuesday night.
WESS, East Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania.